Good evening. Hello. Hey. Good evening, everyone. So, also today, I want to proceed a bit on plane shift development. And I think what we want to do today is to start horse riding. Now, we will not be able to do, say, the wall functionality today because I think it's pretty complex. But I did some research before before starting, and we need to create, a mission. So I will save a new file as Real Mission Writing. Actually, it's a Real Edition Writing 2. The reason why is that on Writing 1, I have just a bunch of notes that I took. So I was following the tutorial of a guy, which is pretty cool. I suggest you to look at his channel anyway if you are developing for Unreal. His channel name is Code Like Me, and he has a lot of tutorials, different tutorials on Unreal Engine, and he has also some for horse riding. So I started to follow what he was doing. Actually, he's not a professional programmer, I think, but he's a pretty smart guy, and I think what he's doing is doing it the right way. So I don't know if it's the best way to do it, but it's definitely one of the way, and it seems to work well. So is a series of tutorials, and what I did, I followed a bit the tutorials themselves, and I came up with a list with a list of tasks. So let me create the mission. So the first thing we will have to do is definitely to create a new character for the horse. So we need to create a horse character, which at the moment we have, two mounts. One is the reef neck, and another one is the drifter. So there are two different kind of mounts. One looks more like a horse, the other one looks more like a flying manta, right? And so we need to create this horse character, and the other thing that we want to do, we want to let's say we want to import a male, let's say a sitting pose, right? We want to create the mount and our mount interact commands, so interact commands, so that we can actually interact with mount. We want to be able to move, right? Move while on the horse. So we want to do that. And I would say we may also decide to attach some footsteps if we want, but for now, so maybe we can attach some sound, some footstep sound, some footstep sound. So there is, let's say, the minimum of what we need to do. Yeah, the real minimum. Now we are missing some animation, so I think that one of the issue we will have is that we are missing some animations at the moment to actually properly complete this mission. But we can use, let's say, some dummy animations for now. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. Let me just check if everything is working. Yes, I think it is. Okay. So let's start by, I think my editor window is kind of stuck for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, I didn't do anything on it yet. Okay, it's visible now. Okay, let's just restart it. I don't know why it's kind of messed up. Okay, I'm restarting the editor now. Hello, David. Welcome. I started the stream a bit late today, but before I was investigating a bit how to do it, so I spent some time off stream to real detectors and shut down cleanly. Yeah, because these two, actually I was trying to import it as it is, but it's fine. Okay, so today I think we have, at the moment we have under, if we go under characters, now if we go under NPC, right, today we don't have the drifter imported. I just briefly tried to import the Rivnak. I was trying to import the base rig without the animations. Wait, I have to import it as a mesh for now. Let me try to import it without skeleton. Right, so it will just look like a static mesh. Okay, it is. Okay, so that is the basic model for our mount, okay, for our Rivnak mount. Now it does not have a texture at the moment. I think the reason is that this texture is not associated to a material. But I think I can I can change the material. I'm just testing if I can change it here. I'm just trying to see if the UV, I think the UV came through. So let me go here. So for the Rivnak we have a basic texture, which is this one. I think we can just import this texture. Right? And then try to associate this texture to my Rivnak model. It's called Rivnak 8, by the way. It doesn't go because it needs a material, I think. You need to create a material for it. Okay, so now it looks a bit better, apart from the fact that the light is pretty bad on it. I think it's just a matter of the way the light is in the preview screen, but I think it should be fine. So I think it's just the light of the preview screen, which is not great, but it should be fine. I don't know if it's a problem of smoothing. But I don't think so. The material itself at the moment is pretty basic, so he has only the diffuse. Well, in theory, we could have the specular and the opacity and the roughness as well. I think we have few more textures that we can import. We have the normal map, and we have the specular. Now, I'm not an expert of the texture part, but yes, normal map already been imported as a normal map, so it looks fine. This drag and drop thing, I didn't use it much before, but now I'm starting to use it. It's pretty neat. The fact that you can drag and drop, um, you can drag and drop anything, you know, between different Unreal Engine windows. Hello, Mr. Phoenix. Hi, welcome. So, I mean, this is just a test at the moment, but you know, it starts to look a bit better. You see, with the normal maps and with the specular map, it starts to look a bit better. Now, it's not perfect, but it's definitely looking better. Now, the problem of this model is that this model is not rigged. Actually, it was rigged, but it was rigged. Originally in another program, and so now we have a bit of an issue to port it, so we have basically to redo the rig, but for now who cares. I mean, we can keep it like it is. The other one that we have, for which we have a rig, actually is the drifter model. Now, for the drifter model, I'm just wondering if we have different seat animation, we have a run, we have a walk version, we have so many different ones, just it's not very clear to me which one is actually a good one. It looks very bulky. You mean the geometry or the texture? So, like, is the geometry you think it should be improved, or the texture itself? I think it's starting. I think Blender is starting up. It's just taking a bit of time. No. Yes, maybe. I was expecting Blender to come up, considering I double clicked on that. Is Blender doing something? Or what is a pinning confirmation dialog? No idea. Oops. He starts and closes immediately. Something going on with with Blender. Let me try to launch it separately and then version 11. Okay, very nice. So that is the drifter animation. Yeah, the geometry is a bit bulky. Yeah, we could improve it. I think that for a lot of these creatures and geometry, we can, we can improve the quality. Consider that they were done very long time ago. So that Drivnak, I don't know how many years it has, but this drifter for sure is at least 10 years. So the Drivnak can even be, older than that. So we can keep the concept. So you can consider it as a concept, and then we may, we may improve the. Okay, let me see if I export this guy in FBX. Hopefully it will have only one root bone, which is what is messing up sometimes Unreal when you're trying to export to FBX. Let me just export it as it is at the moment. I think it did it. Yes, it did it. So we have a drifter walk FBX. So let's see. The problem of the drifter is that he has a different position, for the rider. So when you are riding a horse, your legs stand a certain way. When you are riding a drifter, your legs are staying in a very different position because there is not enough space for the legs. So it's like if you are sitting on the floor, right? So you need to. So we need to have two different animations. No, we are not here. We are here. So many different directories and places. Let's see if it imports okay. If it doesn't import okay, we will not care about it, in the sense that I don't want to do the yeah, it doesn't import okay, so there is definitely a problem with this PT. Assertion failed. Yes, some problem with array index out of bounds. So we actually crashed the editor. Yeah. We managed to crash the Unreal Engine editor importing that FBX. Now, I don't know exactly why, because in theory they should be fine. Okay, it should be fine. We need to check. We need to check the armature, but at the moment, I mean, the purpose of this stream is not to import these models. It's just to have a dummy model, and then someone in the art department, I mean, some artist will work on that. So to have a clean import, of these models into Unreal. At the moment, I don't care too much. I'm more focused on building the code needed, for our riding animation. So let's launch the editor again. Unfortunately, the editor crashed. It's pretty interesting that it's crashing, because it should not, right? So it should like give you an error message, but not actually crashing like this. I think it's a bit weird that we managed to crash it. Let me see if the Rivnak is still alive. Yes, the Rivnak system is still alive. So let's use this guy, okay? Let's use this guy for now, which I think is okay. I think it's fine. The material is giving an error on this material. Doesn't like the texture. Why doesn't like the texture? I think it didn't save it for some reason. I think it crashed and it didn't save everything that he imported because you have to click on save, so it was still in memory somehow. Okay, so now it should be saved. Hopefully we will avoid crashing the engine again. Okay, so just to check, what we need to do here. So the first thing I need to do is to create a character, right, that we can place in game for this guy. Okay, and actually now the point is, if I have to define it in the database as well, I would say yes. So this should be a new race, right? So we need to have a new blueprint. Now I think we will have to change the way blueprints are organized in this directory, because at the moment all the races and everything is in this directory, in this folder. I mean, it looks a bit messy, so I think we will have to clean it up later on. But what we need to do, basically need to create a new blueprint class, and he has to be a character. Why it needs to be a character and not an actor or a pawn? Because he needs to be able to move, right? So we need to select character here, and we will call it Rivnak, which is our name, which is the name of our guy. And now inside of this new character, we want to import the geometry as soon as it opens up. I should say my machine is a bit, my PC is a bit slow today. We will just import a new mesh. So we already have a skeletal mesh here, so we will use a skeletal mesh, the Rivnak mesh. I think I can just do this. No, because it doesn't have a skeleton. Because it's not rigged. Fuck, that's a problem. Okay, because it doesn't see the. It sees as. Can I create automatically one? No, I would say no. I can create a simple one, which is not okay. So if it's not a skeletal animation, if it's not a skeletal mesh, it doesn't allow you to put it into a character actor. So that's the problem, right? So or we manage somehow to get an armature connected to this guy, which is probably exporting. Let me do one thing. Let me test my. Let me do this horse test, because if we don't have, well, we can use a character. We can mount any of our normal characters, right? So, but I wanted to have something that was looking more like a horse or something. Let me see if we try to import. We don't have at the moment the FBX, right? We don't have the FBX here. Why we don't? Because I created in the Rivnak folder I created this generic horse rig. I think we need to open up. Let me open up. Don't save. This generic course rig. So I downloaded from the internet this generic course rig, which seems to be, which is free to use, which is nice. And I wanted to apply this to our Rivnak model. Now, unfortunately, I'm not a Blender advanced user, so I'm not really able to do it without spending a lot of time. So I think someone else should do it. But the idea was to associate this to. But what I want to do, I want to see if this one export cleanly to. To Unreal. Let me export this at FBX and see if this one imports cleanly into Unreal or not. Skeletal mesh. Hopefully the engine will not crash anymore. Like it did. Holy shit. It really crashes in importing this stuff. Is there any problem in the FBX importer? Because it's crashing on all the models which are not, standard models. F local vertex factor uniform shaded parameter resource type 06. It's crashing pretty bad, guys, so that's a problem, really. So it seems that the FBX importer is not very solid. It crashed already on 3 models, so which are made completely different. So it should give you a message saying what's the issue, not just crash like this. Actually, from the log, it seems to say that he loaded it properly, but FBX scene loaded successfully. Import option, blah blah blah, valid bind pose. So it seems that he imported it kind of okay. Then he started to work on the shaders. He started to work on the shaders. He failed to load some of the skeleton and the physical asset. And then there is the crash. But it seems to have imported the thing, but I was not able to create the asset. In fact, I think if I go under content, NPC Rivnak, or sorry, horse test, no, it's empty, so it didn't load anything here. So it crashed before. That's not good. I can simplify the geometry and see if it makes any difference, because actually this is all geometry, and you know, all these pieces are all geometry, while the actual armature is down here. I don't think he has any animation at the moment. No. Doesn't have any animation. But I'm a bit surprised that he crashed like that. I don't know if he's see, I think the actual, you know, the actual rig, is this one. By the way, for the head, he has an insane amount of bones. I don't know why so much, but I'm really very surprised that that the editor crashes like this. So weird. I think this thing has too many bones, by the way. I mean, it's not that the bones are a problem, but I mean, the ears are fine, the shoulder is fine, this part is okay. We're just trying to understand where this was, but it is the actual neck. So it's this one. Actually, it's one bone only. I think it's just the way it's represented, but I think it's just one bone only. I think I will need someone else to try to do the import and see, but it's pretty weird that it's failing like this. Let me see if I have any specific options I can toggle here. So the specific option I have are about the scale, the local axis, the forward axis, the apex, apply unit, smoothing groups, so the normals or whatever, apply modifiers, primary bone axis, secondary bone axis, and then there is this bake animations, all key bones, 1400 simple bones. So it all seems to be pretty much okay. Should we try to import it in an empty project just to see? We are on 424.1, which you know, was the first hotfix of 424, and I'm not sure if that is an issue, you know, with. But the fact that it crashes so easy makes me wonder. Let me try to import only the geometry, okay? So I will not import the skeletal mesh. I will just import the actual geometry. There are actually some issue with the geometry itself, because there are a lot of meshes which are without geometry. It's importing different pieces like this, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I imported it as separate meshes. Imported also the controllers. These are actually controllers, so this should not be you know, imported as geometry, but also it doesn't know, so the engine doesn't know, so it's just importing what it finds here. These are all separate meshes. That's one of the issues that we see. Where are those meshes? It was saying like mesh 001, mesh 002. It was saying they were out. Collection 20. But definitely this thing is crashing the engine. That's no way. So one thing we can do, we can delete all the different meshes, which we don't care at this point, and we leave only the torso. And we see if exporting it this way, there is any better chance of not crashing the engine. Just because I want to know, all of this we can delete. That's totally useless for us. No, it's just crashing. It's just crashing the editor. So this one we cannot import. I'm a bit surprised that it's crashing so easily, but one of the struggle, of any engine is the tool chain. I mean, it's always been like this, and it still seems to be this way, even in Unreal. It seems to be that the tool chain is a problem. So I think that for now we'll just go. Let me see if we can import something that we did in the past. Like I think the Terzaur, I think he imported okay. Is this one having an animation? Yes, he has a kind of an animation in it. So this one I think we have in the game, right? Yes, I think this one we have. So this one has been imported, okay. So what I want to do, just for the sake of a test, is to re-import this one and see if it imports okay. And see if it imports okay, because I have the feeling that something is wrong. If this one crashes, I think we have a bigger issue. If this one does not crash, okay, this one did not crash actually. Okay, well, I think that's positive at least. You know what? We can mount this guy. Let's just mount this guy, and I think we'll be fine. Okay. I don't know why the drifter and the Ravnak are completely crashing and the horse test are completely crashing the engine. That's very, 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 very strange. I was not expecting this at all. I'm just trying to understand why the animations are not imported in this other version. You know what? I think we will use this one. Let's use this one as a sample, okay? I think it's perfectly fine. And let me save all of this. So let's create a new blueprint. Like we said, instead of calling it Rivnak, well, we can create two. We can create two. This red neck we will use anyway. So let's create another one, and we call it Terza or Terzor. And let me see if I can import now the skeletal mesh into this one. Okay. So if I want to have this guy, right, into this thing. Okay, now this one kind of works. Okay. And the point is that we need to use an animation blueprint, and we will use we have an animation blueprint because it's been created. No, we don't. Okay, we don't. We can create one. So this is our animation blueprint, and we can feed into it the idle, I think. Okay, so this is the idle. Of this guy, right? I think we can work on this creature because this creature I think is fine for us. So so I can say to use the Pterosaur. Okay, so this is the idol of this guy, right? Moves a bit too much for my taste, but it's okay. I think it's fine. Hello. So what we need to do? So we created our character. Okay, so we will use this one because the other ones I cannot import, and so there is little I can do. But it's pretty cool that this one is imported. Okay. So now this one, for this one we have. Let me save this animation blueprint, and let me save. Okay, this one is already saved, right? So one thing we need to do, we need to enable somehow the interaction with this character. So we need to have a way, to interact with it. Now I have no idea what is the size of this thing. Maybe we can just drop it 1 second into a test level and see. Let me see if we have. I think we have a test empty level, right? Yes, this test empty level seems to be okay. It's the one where I did the test of the different, of the candle. I was doing test of the candles, of the torches. So if I put my cran, let's put a cran into it. Okay, so we have a reference size. Okay, so this is the reference of the cran. And now let's try to put our pterosaur and see if the scale is fucked up or what. Yeah, the scale is fucked up. It's very small. It's very, very small. So I think we need to increase the scale by at least twice. Is it already twice? Okay. Seems to be little. Is it changing in real time or no? Yes, it is. Okay. So we need to decide the size of this guy, but definitely is not the one that we had at the beginning. I think we need to check from Blender what are the Yeah, but something like that is more realistic. Actually, it should be. I think it should be way bigger. It should be way bigger than this. I can go in game and check. I mean, in the old game and check how big it was, but my feeling is that it should be way bigger. Yeah, something like that is more reasonable. Um, the torches are messing up with the engine. The question is if I will be able to ride this thing, right? If it will be too big for me. Well, I'm a large character anyway because the clan is a large character, so that's probably why. But I think it's reasonable. This size is reasonable. I mean, it's still a bit small, but it's kind of okay. It's still a bit small, but I think it's fine. Maybe let's give him a 8. So at the moment we are 8 times the imported size. I think we'll be okay like this. Okay, let's keep it like this. Okay, let's keep it like this. So so we just need to be sure that it's facing the arrow, because at the moment you see that it's not facing the arrow for whatever reason. So we need to be sure that this guy is rotated this way minus 90 or whatever. Right? Okay, so it's facing the arrow because the arrow is the direction of the forward vector. Right? So now it will be rotated like this, but it's okay. Okay, so so let's say that we have this beast as a character that we can spawn in the game. Now the other problem will be spawning it into the game somehow. So to have at least one, yeah, I have to think how to do it. Now the capsule here is the basically the collider, of this creature. Now I think the way it is not really good for this guy. I think we need to for sure move it, but also we need to scale it a lot. This capsule component, I think we need to scale it as well. Oh wow, if I scale the capsule, I scale the guy as well. Okay. So probably I could have scaled the capsule directly and not have scaled the guy. That probably would have been a better idea. Let me try this. Looks so. Because this becomes really too big. Well, the size here is the same, so I think it can work. I mean, scaling 8 times the capsule, scale this guy as well. The problem is that it's not sitting on the ground anymore, or it is? No, it is. But he also scaled the arrow. I don't care about the capsule at the moment anyway, but I think we need to have this guy imported, with the right size from the beginning, which I think that at the moment we don't have. So there is a bit of work to do to ensure that I don't have to scale him in Unreal so much. So here the idea is that I will have to add a kind of a collision box, around them, which will be the trigger for our. Everything is kind of a bit weird in terms of scale, but okay. But I think it's fine. So we have our interaction box. We can scale. I'm just trying to size it kind of reasonably. That is reasonably around them when you are like interacting with them. Okay, I think it could be even a bit more than this. Actually, yeah, something like that. Okay, so this will be the box that will tell us if we are in contact with this creature. Okay, and so when we are inside this box, we will be able to interact with the creature and potentially mount it. Okay. So this box at the moment is called just box. I think we can call it interact box. Okay, is already a variable and is already here on my mesh. Now the other thing we need to do, we need to define a location where the rider will be sitting, right? So I think we need to add a scene component, which is just it's just a location. It's nothing else than a location, and then you can position where you want, right? So in this case, we can attach it. The problem is that maybe we will have to attach it to a socket of the actual character. Otherwise, it will stand still. Otherwise, our our rider will stay standing still and not attached to the. Yeah. So I think we need to add, in this guy. I think we need to add in this guy a socket which is somehow where the seat is. Okay, and by the way, remember there was also a seat model. But again, this is just a test. But if we go into the skeleton of this guy, and by the way, the wings are insanely big, but I think it's the right way. It's the way it should be. So we have a body control, which is kind of there in the middle. Then we have like a belly, we have a chest. I think the chest is probably where we want to connect our rider. Let me see if there is anything better, because then there is a neck. Now the neck is going up, and the head, yeah, I think the chest is probably the one that we want to connect, is the place where we will be sitting. I think so. Hello, Gian. Hey, welcome. Yeah, so I'm trying to attach it to a socket actually. So I think we can create here a new socket, and we will call it rider seat or something. Rider seat. Yeah. And this will be the socket. Now I don't know why it has this weird orientation. I don't know why it has this weird orientation, but to me it should be looking up, right? So the Z, which is the blue one, should be looking up. Now we can try to attach, just as a sample, a character and see what happens. Can I attach? Can I attach? Okay. Or can I just attach a static mesh? I think I can just attach a static mesh. Do I have a static mesh of a character? I don't think so. I think I have. I can attach the legs of. Why I cannot even see them? Because they are too small, or why? Why I cannot? Something weird happened. Why is moving so fast? I attached. I attached the weapon, and for some reason, everything went like crazy. Holy shit, boys. Okay. I guess we definitely have a scale issue on this model. We definitely have a scale issue on this model. So I think is imported with a very, very different scale. At least the skeleton. Then I think we are scaling the, yeah, because then we are scaling the blueprint itself, right? So our +8 is actually the yeah, the problem is that you see in the you see what happens. Because I think everything is scaling with our blueprint. So this will this happen also when I attach it? Anyway, I think we have an issue with the scale of this guy. We have a big issue with the scale. Is there a way to measure? Gian, do you know if there is a way to measure things inside of this? Like if I want to measure how big is this guy? Well, I can probably just move this and see the relative position. So like my Z is 0.06. If I go at the top, wait. Can we have like a left or something? Yeah. If I go at the bottom is 0 point something. If I go up here is 0.1 and 0.1. Yeah, so is less than 1 centimeter. So this guy is less than 1 centimeter in the import. So so it's less than 1 centimeter. So I think probably we need to export it with a 100. Let me see what is the export profile version 12. We imported version 12 or version 11. We imported file version 11. Well, actually the texture is named number 12. I don't know, I have no idea why I imported 12 and not, 11 and not 12, but Let me see the scale, because here, if you look at the properties of this thing, I just want to say in Blender, you know, what is the, I think it was under scene or something, scene units, yes. Scene units, unit system none. So at the moment is not set. Is not set. Maybe that's the issue, you know, that is not set to any. I can go metric system. And but then I want to know, how do I measure in this Blender thingy? I think one time I did it. It was under tools. I think I did it. Don't remember now. Because I wanted to know, you know, the scale, the size of this thing. I remember there was a thingy that coming up here. Yes. Tool. One second. Blender 2.8 measure tool. Where the hell it is?
Welcome back to.
Yeah, welcome. Measure. Okay. How do you get this freaking menu? I don't have this menu on the left. I don't have this menu anywhere on the left. I don't know why Blender is always so, you know, hard, you know. So is why they did it always in a way that is like so hard to freaking get. Okay, tools. There is a small arrow on the left. Okay, I think we got it. So if I want to measure like from here, oops, like from here to here, is 0.3. Wow, 0.3 is super small. Why? No, that is really fucked up in terms of scale. Why is 0.3 something? 0.5 0.5 meters. So is at least a factor of 10, right? So because we would like this to be at least 5 meters, I guess, because we want like the length to be like 3-4 meters at minimum. So is scaled by a factor of 10, I would say. He has to be scaled by a factor of 10. So when I export it, so now is in meters, which is nice. So I can save it. But when I export it, and when I say FBX, I should say 10. Okay, so this will be 10 meters. So this will be in meters, right? So I can export it like this. Let me try to export it like this. Then when I import it into Unreal, I think I will delete it completely. Or well, we have a version 12 now, so maybe, but I think I just want to delete all of that. I don't care, even if it's inside the blueprint, I think we'll just delete it. Yeah, it's referenced by the blueprint, but it's fine. Let's just kill it. Gianna, you were not here at the beginning of the stream, but I tried to import two creatures from FBX, and the editor crashed, completely crashed. like the editor exit, and the message was something like this: fatal error, render core, rendering thread, DirectX 11, whatever, uniform buffer, CPP, resource type, vertical factory parameter. So it really crashed bad, and it did it on two different models. Like I don't know which kind of tool chain are you using, but the okay. So let me try to import now a version 12. Now this is in meters, so we should tell the engine because I think if I import it now, it will try to translate, because the scale import uniform scale one. Let me ask to Sway if he's online. What is the freaking scale that we use? Or maybe we have it on the wiki. Maybe we have it on the wiki, right? If I go under art, import character from Blender. Yeah, just need the scale actually. Is not written here. We didn't speak about scale in this import and export. We have it in the level. In the FX report, set the unit to centimeters. This will scale up 100 times. As in the U, one unit 1 centimeter, when CS 1 unit 1 meter. Yeah, but this is from 3ds Max. This is from 3ds Max. From Blender. Okay, anyway, let's try to import and then we will try to measure him. Okay. So let's try to import it again. Can I just import without a skeletal mesh? Yeah, let's import just the geometry, so it takes 1 second and we see the size. Right? Okay, this one is importing okay anyway. Okay, now looks more reasonable. Now it looks more reasonable. Still find it a bit small. Well, probably is the way it's designed. Yeah, I think it's designed this way. I think that's pretty much. I don't know, now is white because, but yeah, but I think that now we have the sides sorted out. The side seems to be fine. Okay, so it was scaled up 10 times. So we had to set the metric system and scale it up 10 times. So now seems to be fine. So let me delete it again and import it now with the full set. So version 12, open. This time I will import it as a skeletal mesh. It's complaining about some bones not being properly set, but okay. Let me see if it's moving okay. Actually not. The run seems to be fine, but the walk, the idle seems to be fine. This is the dying animation. Wow. The problem is the walk. The walk seems to be fucked up. Like it's not moving at all. There is the attack. The attack seems to be fine. Okay, anyway, I think we have our guy. I think we can use the run and that's it. So I think we have our guy imported. Now the texture did not go through. Why the texture did not go through? No idea. The texture did not go through. It was okay in version 11. The texture was good in version 11, right? Why now is not importing into textures? I can take the texture from here anyway because we have all the texture from here, so we can. Yeah, let's take it from the other directory. It's fine. So server base version 12, right? There is our mesh. Yeah, seems to be okay. There is actually also a texture for the seat. There is actually also a texture for the seat, which is pretty cool. We just have the walk that is not working okay. I don't know why. But for now I think it's fine. So if we go back to our guy here, right? Which now will not be working anymore, yeah, exactly. But now we can use the right sides in under mesh. We can now use this version 12. Okay. Okay, now you see the difference in size because we scaled it 8 times. So now we don't need to scale it 8 times anymore, which is the good news. Okay, so now, and also we don't need to scale the capsule. Okay. So everything seems. Now I find it is super huge, but I don't know. It looks like it's too big, or not. I don't know. If I put it in the test level, drink something because my throat is pretty dry. So yeah, the size is okay. At least the size now seems to be good. Let me just send a message to Sway about the sides. I'm just typing the changes I did in Blender so that we keep a track of it. So we changed the units, the unit to metric system in Blender, and then exported with a scale of 10 to FBX as the model in Blender seems to be 0.5 meters high, while it should be 5 meters high. With scale of 10 is okay. Okay. The walk animations is not been working properly, but I don't know why it looks so big here. Why it looks so big here compared to the capsule? While then when I put it into the level, it looks fine. I don't know. That's a bit weird. That's a bit weird, boys. It looks the same. It looks the same. I just tried to change the. But anyway, if it looks okay when he's inside, I think we are good. No. Um, what can I do with this capture? Why the capture is so small compared to the. Why? Because it's compared to a normal because it says capsule height 88, 88, which is for our standards, I still think there is something wrong in the scale, by the way. But when I put it here in the level, it looks okay. So so this capsule, if I go on the crane, this capsule is about 88, while this capsule is 88 and is like 1/3 of it. That is what I don't understand. Why this capsule it looks so small. I mean, I can make the capsule height like 500, okay, or 200, and the width 200 as well, or 3 or 400. I don't know. Yeah, I can make it like this, but is something weird going on. I still struggle a bit to understand if I have to care about this capsule or not. Like, do I have to care about it? The fact that it's not properly positioned or is not, properly compared to my character, or I don't care at all. I don't know. At the moment, I would say I will not care at all. But So anyway, in terms of interaction box, we wanted to have a box that is positioned pretty much like this all around the character, so that when we are close to him, we will have the ability, to interact. So that is the idea, right? Yeah, that is the interaction box. So when I will walk next to it, very close to it, I will be able to interact. Right? That's the idea. I think I deleted the animation blueprint. I can create a new one. I think we have few idle variations. We have attack idle, idle, and idle variation. I think the basic one is the idle. Yes, his wings down this way. Okay. I don't really like it, but okay. This was the attack idle. Okay. I would like him to have the wings up anyway, no? That's more of a preference than. It's this one. I think this one is the one that we use in game actually, where he's moving his head to the left and right. So let's use this one because I prefer the one with the wings up, compared to the one with the wings down. I mean, just a matter of preference, but okay. So if now I say that it needs to use the okay, so finally is standing the way it should be standing, and also here it seems to be the right way, right? Okay, so now we have our interaction box. Good. So now the thing we need to do, is to have this riding location, this seat location, right? Now the seat location is pretty much here between the wings, right? So the seat location is here, and the scene component that we said that we will call it rider seat location. Okay, rider seat location, which I guess is clear enough, and we will put it exactly here. I think exactly where it is now, right? I think it's in a good location. So we'll put it there. Okay, fine. Then yeah, just a second. There's a guy that is interested. I will just give him the link to the live streaming, so maybe he can join. Okay, so what I was saying. That we have our rider seat. Okay, this rider location, which is rider seat location, and is actually a variable that we would use in the interact box, right? Then the next thing we need to do, we need to have our character properly have a kind of a sitting animation. Now I don't think we have. Well, we have the chair seat animation, right? We need to see if the chair seat animation is something that we can use. If I go under characters, PS template, animations, base, so the sit, we have this sitting idle. Let me just remove the particle because it's also okay. We have the sitting idle. Can we use this one? Well, I think it's not bad. I mean, it's not like, I mean, it obviously is not moving up and down like if he's riding something, but I mean, it's not like he's riding a horse. But for now, I think we can do it. I think in the old plan shift we had two animations, one for riding drifters and one for riding normal horses. Well, normal horses, let's say Rivnax, but I think it's okay. I think this sitting idle can be okay. So I think we can use this one, right? Okay, so let's use this one. So it is sitting idle. It works on all our characters, and I think we can use this one. Now another thing we need to do. It is a bit more tricky because we will need to have also a location where the character will have to get down, right? To get down from the creature. So we have two ways to do it. Or we are coded, so or we place a location like always on his right, on the right side. The only problem is that we will need to check if that location is actually available, because if you are like close to a wall or there is some blocker, some blocking points here, then it may not work. So but we can have let me add anyway a new another scene component, right? In this case we will call it ground position or ground location. Okay, so this will be our ground location. And we put it, let's say, always to the right side on the ground, right? I don't know, like here. I always struggle to see the ground in this freaking grid, but I guess if I say 0Z, it will be on the ground. No, 0Z is somehow because it's relative to my box. Can I put it outside interaction box? Yes. Can I put it at 0 now? Okay, now it's at 0. Okay, so I think it can be here. I mean, it will be a bit below the wing, but I think it's okay. I think it's fine. Let's keep it there. Okay, so we have two locations. One is ground location, another is rider seat location. Okay, so we will use these two variables when we have to move our character, mount and dismount from it. Okay. Okay, what's next? Next, I have to. Okay, we need to add some blueprint stuff. I'm following a kind of a guide that I built myself. Okay, following a tutorial, so I have a kind of a cheat sheet next to me on the other screen that I'm trying to follow. So this one is the actual process of the character, right? So that is the one that we need in this blueprint to create an event. Okay, and this event, we call it the toggle input. It is the same name that it was in the example that I'm following, right? And this toggle input should have just one variable as an input, which is a boolean, which is, if it's enabled or not enabled, right? So that's the way it should be. And then then there should be a branch out of this, and we need to get, so here we are inside the Terza blueprint. Okay, but it's fine. I think we can do our get player controller, and then from the player controller we can we can have possess. So possess should be the thing that is telling you if you are going to control another creature, right? So the target is the player controller, and the pawn is ourself, right? So this basically means that our player is going to possess, so to control the particular creature, right? So we enable it like this here, and I think we will do exactly the same in our we have to do it exactly the same in our character blueprint, because when I want to possess, I think possess is automatically unpossessing, right? I think so. Because cannot one possess our pawn for any reason that is not the pawn being destroyed, because that is already handled. I don't know if I possess something else. I don't think you can possess two, right? So I think it's okay. I think if I possess, I automatically unpossess the previous one. So I think it should be fine. I think it should be fine. Okay, so let's not worry about it. So in the character blueprint, right, in the PS character BP, we can add. Now the point is where we should do this. It will be part of. Well, I think we need, because it's part of mouse and keyboard, because anyway will be an input. The only difference is that it will be an interaction, so it will not be a movement, but in theory should sit here for now, because we have this big graph which is mouse, keyboard and input, which is keeping all the input. I'm just thinking if there is a better place. Yeah, which by the way we need to move this server side, because this is pretty stupid example where this toggle input should be called from the server anyway, otherwise will never work. We should remember that, but it's fine. So let's put it in mouse and keyboard for now. Then I will figure out if I want to do it differently. Okay. So we will create the same. So this one is possess back my PS character. Possess my PS character. So it's basically going to possess the base character, and this we have to do it when we are dismounting from the horse, right? Okay, yeah, I have to check out some stuff here because it's under control. Okay, so this one I think we did, which is fine. Now, now we need to decide, how to trigger the mount, and I think that for us will be when you overlap the trigger box, right? This trigger box, this interaction box that we have created. So the point is, or we do it on begin. So on begin component overlap, we may show, we may enable a kind of a state for the player, which is like can mount. Right? So it will be able to mount the creature. I'm just thinking, but yes, there is no other way. So we have to do it this way. We need to now. Can we do it in a way that is more generic, not only for this creature, but for all the creatures? Because I think that is the purpose of the interfaces, right? Because the problem is if I do it here, it means that for every creature that we will have to mount, I will have to redo the same code, and it seems pretty stupid, right? So I don't want to do that. So or I move this to PS character, so that we always have an inter. That could also be an idea, right? So if I move this this interact box to the PS character blueprint, which is our generic, generic blueprint, then it means that I can do an overlap function directly in PS character BP, and this means that any character will be able to be mounted. Now I will have to define which one we want, and so maybe in the database when we are loading. Do we already have in database this idea? Because I think there should be. How do we define if a character is a mount? I think we define it should be inside characters. I think it should be here somewhere. Mount 1, here it is. This is an example of a mount, which by the way we can use this line, I guess, to. So let me see the properties. I think it's a flag. No? How do we know? I don't remember a mount. Interesting. Character type. Here it is. Character type. I think it's this one, right? Sorry. Character type. I think the mounts have their own special. There's no description. But anyway, I think that's it. Let me check if we have it documented anyway. No. Let me see if under database design. Character table. There's no description. Why there is no description? Okay. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that character type is. Well, we can see it from here anyway, because I don't know why we don't have a description there, but we should. We definitely should. So 0 are players, 1 are NPC, 2 are pets, and 3 are mounts. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't know why it's not specified anywhere in our database, but you can check the code and maybe it's easier. But it should be. What is the name of this thing? It's character type. Character type. But I'm pretty sure that's it. So when we load set character type, when we load the character, yes, but please tell me what they are. Please. Okay. IntelliSense never been very smart, huh? Character type count. Okay, there it is. There it is. There is also mount pet. That I didn't know. I don't even know if it exists. Can we ride pets today in game? I don't think so. But anyway, that's the description. So I think we should put it somewhere because it's a bit stupid. We don't have it anywhere. So let's put it at least in our wiki. Let's put it at least in our wiki so that we have it. Let me create a string which is reasonable. It was a text I was using for advertising. So let's say player equal to 0, NPC equal to 1, pet equal to 2, mount equal to 3. So what we care about at the moment is mount. Okay, and this mount pet, I think I never seen it, but it's okay. So let's put it under character type. So we have our description here. Okay, so we saved into the wiki. So at least now there it is. So at least now it's documented somehow. Hello, Tal. You mean during all this year my pet can? What do you mean my pet can mount my rim? You can mount. I mean, it's not. I I don't think it's working in the game. But can you do it? Can you do it today? Can you mount your pet? Like, because the original idea, was that your pet would grow. So like a Groffel would grow into a larger one, and in theory you could be able to mount it and fly with him. So that was the original idea. No, I think we never implemented it, right? But I don't know. I don't know Groffel. Yes, the Groffel should become like a Griffon. In fact, it's called Groffel for a reason. But so it should become like should become like this. I know it's small, but it should become like this. I cannot click on it. Okay, it's too small. Okay, anyway. Yeah, it should become. This one is a good one. This one is a good one. So it should become like this. Well, not exactly like this, but anyway, keeping his own, face and traits and whatever. And in theory, you should be able to mount it. So this mount pad, I think it was meant for that, but I think we never implemented it at the end. So that's the point. Okay, so I think we can use this mount thingy. This mount one in the database, I think is pretty good. So we can reuse this one. We just have to position it somewhere. Mount one, there it is. Type 3. Race gender ID 32. Now 32, I don't know if it's a good one, but let me close a bit of few tables because we have too many open and it's really messing up my everything. Well, by the way, I enabled NPC responses audio. I did it the other day. I didn't stream it, but I enabled sounds to be played, so voiceovers to be played. Maybe I will do a short video for Patreon on that. And so if we go under race info, that is why the table was open, because I was working on it. I cannot stream all my developments because it will say takes too much, but I mean I can always be online. But hello, 8-bit war films, welcome. I think I've seen you already in the past, eh? Or not? I don't remember. I think I've seen your name already. So welcome back in case. So number 32. Number 32 is a drifter. Okay, in this case, we want to use the pterosaur one. I don't think we have it in the list. I think we will have to add it. I don't see a pterosaur here. Rat, Grendel, Gobble, Consumer, Trapper, Ubernaut, Jefferson, Drifter. No, there is not. Or we reuse this one, or I just go 1 second in the production database to see what is the pterosaur one. Maybe let me do that. Let me go 1 second to the real database. I'm on another screen, but don't worry. So where do I have the list of races? Is under rules. Is under rules. No race. No, it's under NPC. I have no idea. Should be under rules, right? Race info, I found it. Yes, it's under rules. Okay, we need to search for pterosaur. Okay, pterosaur is number 92. Okay. I think we can add it. Why not? So 92 pterosaur, and the mesh. Not that we care about it too much, but I think it just not listed here. I think it's just pterosaur anyway, and if it's not, we will make it this way. They have no gender, so there is no male female. The size we don't care actually, so we can put everything as one. Actually, in the original database was 1.8, 1.2, 0.6. So I think there was a kind of a capsule, but don't worry. This is the statistics. Well, these one are valid because they will be valid for combat in case you attack the guy. But 0.6. I'm just putting the value that I see in the main database, but at the moment it's not very relevant. In the sense that we are not gonna fight with this guy. Let's keep 10 and 10. It's not the original one, but it's okay. Armor ID. Yes, well, I think that we can leave it without armor for now, because actually he has an armor, but it's not relevant. Race should be 92, should be exactly the same. That is usually the rule, and the scale should be 1 and speed modifier should be 1. Okay, so we added this race to our database, which is now getting loaded as a valid race. And so what we want to do now is that I want to change this mount to be 92. Now we will have to find a good place on the map to spawn it. maybe we can search a good place so it kind of spawns already. Let me just see if there is any 61 character type 3. If there is anything that will prevent this thing from spawning. Well, the location, definitely we need to find a good location, but that's not a problem. This means that the NPC is invulnerable, which is okay. The account ID is 9, which is okay. Yes, some loot. Okay, who cares? Give some experience, and the rest it should be okay. The important point is that it's enabled for spawning, which is spawn rule number 1, so which I think is okay. Master ID 6. Why Master ID 6? Fighter 1? No. Why you want to do that? I don't think it's a good idea. Let's remove the master ID. Otherwise, this guy will inherit a lot of a lot of scripting in his brain, and it's not a good idea because he will I don't know, we start to move around and do stuff, and so it's not what we want. It's not what we want. So okay, so let's just find a good location for this guy, and then we will try to spawn it. Because I would like the database to actually spawn it. I don't want to spawn it manually myself. Also because I want to check if the spawning of the mount is proper. So, do you think I can launch the game now without problems? I think I didn't touch the blueprints too much, so it should be working. I mean, the 2 or 3 additional blueprint we had, the code we added should not mess up the startup of the game. I think we can close Blender, by the way. I don't think we need it now. Do I want to save it? Yeah. I changed the scale, right? That's what we did. Yeah, it's way saying that did not make a writing animation. I think it's not a problem. As normally times out because the server is still not up. Okay. I don't know if we had to do this test, outside of plane shift, like in a sample project first, but I think that we need anyway, the right assets, the right BP, the PS character, and everything. I don't think would have been a good idea to do it outside. Come on, the server up or what? I think the server crashed. Okay, GG. So I think the changes I did were enough to have the server crash. Okay. Okay. Dispatch begin play. What the hell is this? Okay, so is the new race I added because he also needs a spawn point. I mean a default spawn point. So I think that there is another table which is NPC spawn rule or NPC spawn ranges. One of the two. No, this one should be fine. What did he say? He didn't find race spawn point for race 92 not found. Race spawn point for race 92 not found. Okay, so let's just check what this error is about. Come on. I need to change my PC. Come on, baby. Why Visual Studio now is not responding? Please. Oh, damn. Okay. It's not in debug mode. It's just a standard Visual Studio. It's just open normally, so it has nothing to do. It's not running or anything. Yeah, I was searching this phrase in our code. It should be under Cache Manager, I think. Yeah, it's log cache, so I think it's in Cache Manager. Oh my god, why is it so slow? Why Visual Studio is not cooperating? What is the problem, boys? What is the issue of Visual Studio not cooperating? It's using 8% of the CPU and still getting super slow. Maybe I have to restart it. Cache manager. Yeah, it's fucked up. Let me restart it 1 second because something is not working on Visual Studio at the moment. It decided to be unresponsive. Okay, now looks better. Okay, so I was saying Cache Manager should be here. No? Okay. Should be in Cache Manager somewhere. Maybe the there it is. It's under PS race. Okay, so race post point for race not found is search. There is another table. Race spawns, which is not this, which is not this. What is this? Okay, I was not aware of that. I mean, I was not remembering that. So here you need to have a default. Okay, actually this one is never used. I mean, it's not, it's never used, but it's it's just a default spawn location, um, which I think we can just copy paste from this. Okay, I think that's fine. So we can just apply it. So yeah, it was not loading because it didn't find the right race spawn. It's okay. Yeah, so the complexity we have is that we need to integrate, the functionality with our existing game. So it's not just creating a writing animation and launching it and that's it, but it's a bit more complex than that because we need to be sure that PS character failed. Holy moly, what is this? Ah, okay. Apart from the fact that I wrote it wrong, but okay. So pterosaur, I wrote it the wrong way. Okay, but I think we are close now. We are close to that. Pterosaur. Okay, and it's searching for a pterosaur character. So this thing should not be called like this, but this thing should be called pterosaur character because that's the way it's searching for it. Okay, and the same for the Rivnak. The Rivnak should be called Rivnak character or something. Hello, Zwei. Welcome. Okay, so this way I think is gonna find it. Okay, so I can save this and I can relaunch the server and see what happens. Okay, now it started. Okay, well, it's still starting actually. Boom. Okay. Um, so, warning while loading Terza base file version 12 skeleton in blueprint view asset failed to load this thing. Can't find a file. Oh, what do you mean? Can't find a file in this skeleton. Add a variation. Game or says skeleton can't find the file. I don't understand. Why is complaining so much about it if in the editor it looks okay? Um, okay, so there is the guy. There is the guy, and he's complaining about what? He's complaining. Warning while loading. PS and real content NPC or that. Well, apart from the name, that is like insanely long name. I don't know if that's an issue, but Server base file version 12 skeleton animation blueprint U asset. Yeah, this is the animation blueprint I think I created, which is the one that we are using, right? Yeah, I will reduce the name a bit because these names are crazy and maybe they are messing up with the engine somehow. We need to normalize those names because they are like a bit weird. So let me go here. Yeah, the moment is under horse test, okay? Maybe because I didn't save it? That could be, yeah. That all of this was still in memory. Yeah, that's probably the reason. That could be the reason, huh? That all of this was still flying around in the memory. By the way, this name, like Terza base file version 12, I think is a very bad name. But let's try now. I think all of that was still loaded. No, it's the same. But the error is different though. Cast of Terza character C. Eliaco map persistent level Terza character C to PS character failed. Because our NPC is NPC 61, right? Or 62 or 63, anyways. The one that is trying to load, yeah, it's exactly 61. So it's failing while loading this guy. Okay. I think I know. Stupid me. Yeah. Okay. This guy. Crap. I didn't. I extended it from. Yeah. Can I change the? I don't think so. Can I change the feather class? Stupid me. I extended it from, well, anyway, it's easy to recreate. It's not a problem. But I extended it from character and not from PS character. So that's obviously not working. That's obviously not working. I don't know why I did the extension this way. No, it does not. Okay. It's saying that these exist, but it doesn't, so it's okay. So, yeah. Unfortunately, we need to redo it. Well, redo it. We need just to get the proper skeletal mesh. And but yes, because I derived it. I wrongly derived it. PT. It's okay. We can do it quickly anyway because we created already all the animations and everything. So um, we just have to quickly redo those few steps. 300, 200. And I think that's good. We just need the interact box and these two locations. Unfortunately, I cannot copy them between. It's a pity, but it's okay. Yeah, the idea is if I do the interaction box on PS character, right? I think at the end we will do it that way. I think that at the end we will do it. We will do it that way. Yes, always have to understand the ground level. Okay. So we did this, and we also need to add the two scene components. Okay, we need two of them. Like we said, one is called. I don't think that if there is a way to reparent to another father class, but in this case, it took me less, to just redo it than to try to understand how to reparent. So, but maybe there is a way. I'm just not aware of it, but maybe there is a way. Okay, so there is the rider location, right? And the second one is the ground location, which we said that we want to put at the left, right? On the ground at the left of the character. Okay, so I think we did all of that, so we are good. The only problem is that I need to delete this guy and rename this guy properly, otherwise it will not work. Well, yeah, there is a reference here, we can remove it. Can I delete this redirect? Okay, he's complaining about the browser character. Why? Because there is a redirector or something? Let me see. There could be a redirector. Yeah, there is. She's this guy. Is there a way for me to select to show the redirectors on in the content? Maybe not. Huh? Is it possible to show the redirectors and kill them like without launching the? Hmm. To see the directors, enable show the director filter in the content browser. Show the director filter in the content browser. Show the director filter in the content browser. Yeah, where the hell is that? Do you see it? I don't see it. Where is it? Is it in the filters? Ah, it is. Show the directors. Okay, there is this freaking. There is this one. But the other one doesn't show up. This one, I have a director here which is called Terror Character, but it's not showing up. Fuck. Ah, because it's not saved yet. I see. I did one thing wrong, and now it's backfiring on me so much. I did the extension from standard character and not PS character, and now it's backfiring on me so much. Like is now I have the redirector thing. I cannot delete. There it is. Can I delete this, please? Delete. Delete. Okay, finally deleted it. No, I didn't. Oh my. Okay, I will delete it from here and then maybe we'll stop complaining. No? Okay, it doesn't. I deleted it from the directory directly, so I hope it doesn't complain anymore. Also because we need the asset to be called exactly like that because the engine is searching it that way. So it's basically attaching the name of the race plus character to search the character to load. So or we can do it this way, or I don't know. Can we do it, please? I just need to rename it properly. Okay, it did it. It did it. No, I don't want to save that. Okay, so let's launch the server again. So now you should find the character properly, I think. And if it doesn't, we will find out what is the issue. If you're not yet following on Twitch, please click on follow and on YouTube. If you can click on subscribe, that will be nice. So you will see when I'm live the next time, and maybe you will join us again. Is it started finally? Or still loading? I think it started, kind of. It looks started, no? Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, there are a few issues on the L bars, but... Yeah, it started. Okay. So the server is up, which is the good news. Now we need to find the right spot for this creature to spawn. My suggestion will be not to place it again in the plaza, or we have too many characters in the same place, and they may interact with each other because they have a bit of an AI, so they may look at they may just mess up. So we can put it like on the side. I think I have a place in mind. Can be just at the back of the blacksmith. Just be at the back, I think. I think we can place it like back here. I never think there is a guy down there, but I don't think he's very easy to see. So I think we can place it like. Well, I need it not to collide with anything around me, so. Maybe it is a good spot. Okay, let's use this spot. So let me see this position. Which position is it? So this position is 194,590. Okay, so let's put this position into our database, which will be a fixed spawn for now, but it's fine. So it will be 194,590. Then it will be minus 316, 264, no, 249. Okay, 249. And then it will be, oh fuck, not here, sorry. In the location, here. SQL Workbench is when there is an application running full screen is kind of slowing down. I don't know why, but if you can see, it's pretty slow in refreshing the window. I don't know why. It happens only when I have clean shift running. Okay, and the third one is 105.94. 0.31. I don't think it's really needed, but okay. So now we have the location. So in theory, our guy should spawn like here in front of us. Okay, that is where he should spawn if we did the things right. So let's quit. I don't have yet the I don't have yet the commands to automatically respawn NPCs, even if in theory we have it in the code, but it's not tested, so I cannot do it. But there is a slash reload NPC with a specific ID. You put the ID and it should just respawn in front of you. So at runtime. So I have to port that part of the code still. So I still have to do that. Okay. Server is up. So now the part of the mount will not do anything yet. Okay, so this is just to ensure that we have the proper character with the proper database setting to be mounted and everything else. So it's just to be sure, that we are in the right setup. Then from the right setup, we will have to implement those two functions. Okay, he's there, but for some reason he's flying. He knows his amount. Why is up there? No idea. Mount 1. I mean, it's there. It's strange though, because the Z unless I typed in wrong the Z location. 109. So I typed 105.94. Yeah. Why is flying? By the way, I'm colliding with his capsule somehow. I think I'm colliding with him. $105.94. So it's 10 centimeters above this. Why this guy is flying? Man, why are you flying? Tell me. I know you want to fly, I know, but it's not the time. Is it like flying here or no? No, it's at zero location. I see the ground. The ground is here. So, the only reason that I can think of is that the capsule is actually below ground somehow, and it collided with the capsule is colliding. It collided with the ground, and it put it up at the minimum position it could find. Yeah, I think that's the reason. I think that's exactly the reason. That's exactly the reason, that the capsule collided with the character. So what we should do is to move the character down, even if he's not at the ground level, but to move it down to be inside the capsule, so that his feet are touching the bottom of the capsule, and then I think this will work okay. In fact, it's like this. Now that I think about it, it's like this for all the other characters as well. So I need to keep I don't know if I want the capsule to be going up to his wings. I don't think I want the wings to be colliding with anything. So I think I want a capsule more like this. And if he has his wings inside something, I don't really care. Or the back of his tail, you know. I don't really care too much. The only question is, because the capsule cannot move, right? Yeah, the capsule cannot move, so it's automatically in that place. So I can do something like that. Yeah, this is basically covering the wall. This is basically covering the guy fully. Now the feet should stay at the bottom level of the capsule. So at the bottom. So in fact, when we see that some of our guys are flying, I think it's because they don't have, you know, they are not well positioned compared to this thing. Okay, let's try like this. But I think that was the reason, because the capsule collided and it bumped up. At least that's the only reason I can think about, because there is no other possible reason why it's flying. You know, the problem is that I'm working on so many different areas of the game sometimes that I forget because I did this capsule thing like 10 times when I was working with on the characters. But the last time I was working on the capsule was maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. I mean, was really at the beginning, and so I'm not, you know, it's not easy to remember all the pieces. So now I'm expecting him to be on the ground. Okay, so if he's still flying, I think we have a problem. If he's still flying, I think we have an issue. He's flying less, which is the good news. But he's still flying. But he's flying way less, you see. So the capsule thingy, I think it worked. Can I select him? No. Can I speak with him? No. So I think he's doing a check that it should be character type 2. I mean character type 1, so it should be an NPC, and at the moment this is not an NPC. So it's definitely flying less, so the capsule changed it good. Now the problem is, why still flying? Is the collider box, I think the collider box, this thing, is probably, but I don't need this thing to collide. I need this to only overlap, yes, only generate overlap events. Generate overlap events. Can characters step up on? No, I mean, should not do anything. Is visible. Well, it's visible here, but not in game. Overlap. Overlap all dynamic. It means that it's not blocking anything, right? Yeah, it's not blocking anything. But I can move it up. I don't know if this is the problem now, but I can definitely move it up. It's not a problem. I don't need it. I mean, I don't need this to be. exactly at the feet. You know, I can even do it slightly above the feet because anyway, this would be the location where you will walk to mount this guy. Actually, I think it can also be a bit more to the front. Yeah, something like that. Do you think it was that? I don't know if that's height is the height of the interaction box. It seems to be more than this. It seems to be more than that, actually. No, I'm a bit concerned because I don't know why. I have no idea why it's doing that now. I mean, my capsule is okay. The feet are exactly at the capsule level. The feet are exactly. By the way, I can just use a freaking left or right, and maybe I will see it better. Eh? Yeah, you see, the feet are exactly here, and this interact box now is above it, so it should not mess up with him. I think the positioning. Are we positioning the character in the game? I think we are taking. I think we are taking half of the capsule and positioning it up. Yeah, I think that's the way it works. Wait a second. I think we are. So when we are positioning the character in game, I think we are taking the height of the capsule. We are dividing it by 2, so we are getting half of the capsule, and we are moving the character up for that amount. So if the character is not centered in the middle of the capsule, it will not work. Um, I think we do that, right? I don't remember, but I think we do that when we found the spawn point. Let me search spawn actor. Which, by the way, I don't know even if it's the right way, but when we spawn the actor here, translation is position X, Y, and Z. No, that's taken from the database. Here we are inside. No, that is the spawning of the player. It's not the spawning of the NPC. There must be another one. Come on. That is the only one? No, it's not possible. There is for sure another one. Uh, Visual Studio sometimes. I was doing Spawn Actor entire project, and it's not doing it. Okay. Yeah, Entity Manager create. So this one is creating. Yeah, this one is the one creating items, but there is another one which is the one creating NPC. I think it's this one. Yes. Yeah, you see this thing. I remember this one. So we are basically doing. I don't know exactly why, but I think otherwise they were not they were floating on the. They were walking below ground. So we are positioning the character in the Y location plus half of the capsule height, right? So what is the problem here? The problem is that we are taking this creature. The capsule height is 210, right? So I'm taking 110 because sorry 105, and I'm adding it to the bottom of this creature, right? And so this means that if the capsule is not exactly the size, exactly the height of the character, it will not work, right? Or in other words, if my if my feet, because I want this guy to be I mean, I can move him down now. If I move him down now, I'm pretty sure that it will work. But I'm not. I would like to keep a consistent way to do this. So if I just move it down, how much down? So that's the question. How much down? For sure, at the moment, the capture is not covering the whole character. But at the same time, the spawn point should be the bottom. So I don't understand when I say the capsule I take 110, 105, I move it up 105. So it means that it has to be 105 below the ground, right? If it's less than that, his location is minus 200 z-wise, right? His location was minus 200, so his z location is minus 200 here. But if I do minus 200 minus 105, so let's say 100, I go to 100. So I will go to still to minus 100. So I don't know exactly how it works. Anyone can tell me how this works exactly? The problem is that if I don't do the alpha of the capsule going up, let me see another character. Let me see this character, for example. Okay. So this character is definitely not messed up in the game. So you see the capsule is exactly the full height of the character. Is exactly the full height of the character, and the character is exactly in the middle. So that's the point, that yeah, is exactly the size of the full character, and the character is exactly in the middle. I think that's the trick. Let me see this guy, because this guy was floating a bit, I remember. And this guy is probably floating a bit because, as you can see, the capture is not covering the full the full character, and so it's floating by this distance. Um, I mean, I can make the capsule bigger, it's not a problem. I can make the capsule bigger and have my character exactly in the middle. The problem is, if I make the capsule bigger, this guy will fly even more, no? If if I make the capsule, so let's assume that I make the capsule to cover the whole character, okay? No. 300, 280, 270, 270. Yeah, it's something like this. This will be like covering the wings as well, right? So this will be like covering the whole thing. Not by much, but hello, man. So if I do it like this, by the way, while I'm at it, let me also try to change this capsule slightly, and I want to fix also this one if possible. What is it? Shade. If I do, I think it's missing like 5 centimeter. Maybe 3. What the hell? I can move it only by blocks. Come on, because there is the grid on it. I see. Okay, I think like this is pretty good. Like this is like nearly perfect. We can try also with him, by the way. But this half of the capsule is messing me up a bit. This half of the capsule is messing me up a bit. Because in theory it should take the position on the ground, right? It's messing me up a bit. So there is the ground level, okay? And we defined the position of the ground level. For example, it was like this 10,500 and something, okay? Then it's taking half of the capsule and moving it up, right? So so it means that my character should be, so for example, if the capsule is 100 and 210, like we said, you know, it will move it up 105. So it means that the feet of my character should be actually 105 down, right? So that's the point, right? So it will reach exactly 0. So that's the idea. It means that if it's exactly in the middle, it works, right? It's a bit harder to see it on the pterosaur because the pterosaur is a different looking creature, but no, it's still flying exactly the same way. Didn't change a bit. Didn't change at all, boys. Why? Why is flying? I know it's a flying creature, but the fact is a flying creature should not have this bug. By the way, am I flying a bit or not? I don't think so. No, it seems that this character is pretty much on the ground. So I don't know why the capsule is not working. I mean, this calculation is not working properly for him, so I have no idea. What I can do, I can move him down a bit and see if he's not flying anymore. That I can do, but I don't understand why I have to move him down. Also, he will be out of his capsule, which I don't like too much. But if there is no other way, I'm gonna do it this way. You have any idea, any logical idea why? Why is not... I don't know. Trying again. Just moving it down a bit, but or is colliding with something on the ground because there is a height map there of a generated terrain. So or is colliding with something and the engine is bumping him up. He's flying less. So my actual movement down did something. So it's not bumping on anything. It's really the calculation which is wrong. Okay, let me move him down another chunk, okay? Just to see. So probably it's not a collision thingy. It's just a position. Obviously, if I reduce the capsule, it will automatically go up, right? Because yeah, if I reduce the capsule, it will automatically go up. Which is kind of stupid. Now my PC is acting very good. I see that it cached everything it could, and now is loading super fast because I'm executing the same thing over and over. Yeah, now he's nearly on the ground. Well, yeah, we can consider him basically on, well, he's not on the ground, but anyway, he's pretty much on the ground. So, okay, I think we have a bit of an issue with this because I don't understand exactly how it works and why. But I mean, why is doing this? But I have to keep him. You see how low he is compared to the capsule is insane. But if I move him up, let's try the other technique, okay? If I move him up by, how much did I move him up? Let me check. So here is 362, okay? So if I'm moving him up by 100, because I'm moving him up by 100, right? And I reduce the capsule size, which at the moment is 270. I reduce the capsule size by, wow, 200 it must be? Yeah, 200. If I reduce the capsule size by 200, but this capsule thing is super stupid. Makes no sense to me. If I do this, this should be 35. No, cancel. No, wait, I did something stupid. I can reduce it by 100, so to 170. Exactly. To 170. If I reduce it by 100, it will go up. Of 50. I think the thing we should do, instead of doing that stupid capsule height something, we should just detect the lower point and that's it. So like position it based on the collision with the ground. Wow, I mean this positioning of the capsule. I remember I searched it at that time, and I was so spawn actor capsule position. I was so surprised, that you had to do half of the capsule height to position the character, that I was like, why? But I was searching, and I have to search it again. But I found this thing where he was saying that, yeah, you see that he's in the same position. You see that he's exactly in the same height, because I moved him up 100 and I reduced the capsule by 100, and so those two are matching again. Fuck. That's annoying. That's kind of annoying. Okay, anyway, I think we can leave it like this. I mean, it's not flying, it's just standing a bit on. It's like 10 centimeters above ground, so I think it's okay. Hello, me. You want to eat me? No. Okay, so now the interact box is here. The interact box is here. So I think what we need to do. This is not very good. The interact box is also. Wow. Why so big? You see my pointer? Okay, on the top seems to be okay. On the side here seems to be okay. The problem is like on the side here. It's like, wow. It's like if on the side the character is still here. What is colliding with? Wow, look at that. It's still. What the hell? Is it colliding? Is it? I think is considering the model with the spread wings. That's interesting. So it means that the idle position is actually not server side. You see that? You see my cursor, the red cursor? If I go all around here, then here it starts to be red. So it's like, let me give you what I'm thinking. Is like if is colliding. I mean, it's colliding is detecting like a wing here. It's like if it detecting the wings, which is this character default position, because this character, when it's in the default position, not in the idle position, if you look it from the top, and I remove the blueprint animation, You see how it is? It's like this. And to me, I mean, it comes up to here, which is super big. And to here, yes, so it is red, it is red, it is red. So it seems that since this trace is done server side, I think it's done server side. I don't remember, but I think it's done server side. This trace, the combat trace, is done server side. The combat trace, I think the combat trace. I think it's on tick. Update NPCL bar. I think that the tick. I'm not 100% sure. Well, for sure is also server side. But it's having a huge. Yeah, but I think those two are the wings anyway. I think that's the default position of the character, because there is also on the others. There is not at the back, like here there is nothing. Here is white, but if I look here, it's the same thing. It goes up to now here there is the rock, but it goes up to here. So it's like if the character has his wing spread. Hello, Kernel, welcome. It's like if the character has the wing spread for some reason. And that's not good. I mean, it's good and not good. I mean, I don't know, but it's not. Okay, anyway. There is another problem we have to fix another day, so I don't want to go there now, but there is definitely something that should not be like this, okay? Should not be like this. Should not be like this. But okay. Fine. So anyway, it's kind of standing on the ground. We said it's fine. So let's continue. Let's continue. So now what we want to do, apart from putting back his animation, which is anyway good to have. So apart from this, I'm recompiling and saving this thing. We want to overlap with this box, right? So we said that on event overlap of that thingy, right? We want to check. Well, first of all, if it's a mount, but I don't think we really need to check because I think we can put that box only on mounts. So I think it's pretty much okay. The thing I was saying is that I don't think it should be directly on the specific character. I think it would be nice if it was on if the box was on PS character and then adapted to the sides of each creature, so that we can still call the overlap from here, but but I don't want to call the overlap from here. I want to call it from PS character, right? From PS character, I will just say if it's overlapping. Yeah, I should do this way. I think I should do it this way. We already have something though, because we already have this one, which is the interact trigger. You see it? This interact trigger, I added it a long time ago, but it was a similar concept. Sphere collision, box collision. I think it was exactly the same concept, just in a sphere instead of a. And I don't think I'm using this anywhere. I don't think I'm using it anywhere. Let me see what we do with this. Character overlap event. Add interaction, remove interaction. What is this thing doing? Exclude the player from interactable entities. Add interaction. Add unique interaction list. Ah, yes. It is something that I did long time ago, but then never used it actually. But there was the same idea. Exactly the same idea. Hello, Jake the man. Welcome. By the way, if you have any questions, you don't know exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what is this game, just don't feel shy. Just ask me questions. So let's keep it interactive. I'm busy with the stuff, but I can definitely speak with you with no problems. Pretty happy to speak with you. Um, so this was exactly the same idea. Now the only point is, should it be a sphere or should it be a box? But I think the idea is good. The idea is exactly this one. It was actually adding, the specific character you can interact with to the list of interactions, which is just an array of PS characters, which is basically, I think also this one is never used much. Let's see. Get interaction, remove interaction, should update interaction. And this one is not used anymore. Yeah, I guess best interaction. I remember this part. This part was a test that I did. Yeah, it was a test I did a long time ago. It's not. You see that it's disconnected. It's not. It's not used anymore. Okay, so I think we can use this technique. Okay, so I'm taking some time to reason on it because, anyways, it's one of the fundamental pieces that we will use also in the future. So I want to, explore all the possibilities and reason which one I want to use. Um, the good thing of a trigger that is inherited is that you can scale it as you want, you can change it as you want. So in every sub character, so for example, this one I can put like a 400, maybe 400 is a bit too much, but just to say that I can override maybe 300. Yeah, I can override the basic component with this one. Okay, so I think that's the way I want to do it. So I will delete this one. I will keep the interaction trigger, which is this, which is already on PS character, so it's inherited from our base class, which is pretty cool. I think it's pretty good. I'm just thinking if I want it as a sphere or I want it as a box, because because a sphere to interact. So when we will use the interact, we will use the interact. I think on mounts is the main one, but let's assume that we can steal from people. So we have like a pickpocket or a yeah, something like that. So a proximity thing. Hello, Johannes. Welcome. Thank you for the support. When the initial release may come, we said 2020. So we said that in 2020 we will have it. That's the idea. I think we will have a first beta release for the only for only for the people that are usually in our Discord and our YouTube or whatever. So for you guys, so we will have like a beta release. The beta release, I would like to the beta. I mean beta meaning that basically what is working today you can use, and I want to test a bit the performances, mainly the performances on having maybe 50, 60 players. So I think we can take the whole Discord channel and send it to them and see who connects. And yeah, and so that one I think is much sooner than the end of 2020. So I think that one is closer. Depends really on how much time I put into it and how many people are helping me, because it really depends on that. But yeah, I think that before holidays, before August, I think the beta version before August, I think is very very possible. Okay, so in theory it's possible even earlier, but let's see. So you know what I don't like about the sphere? I don't like about the sphere that like if you are on the ground, you know, the sphere will go below the ground. So in theory, if we have a check of pickpocketing or something, this guy will be able to pickpocket you from the level below you. You know, something like that. I don't like the sphere too much for this reason. I think a box is more, even if the box has corners, and so this means that on the side it will be a bit weird, like it will be very far. So like when you are here, yeah, the sphere, let's say, has the advantage of keeping a radius everywhere. The box has the advantage of cutting off the top and the bottom. Yeah, I think for pickpocketing we'll have any way to check if he's not behind a wall. So because if this guy is sitting next to a wall, he will anyway. Yeah, okay, I think we can keep the sphere. I think we can keep the sphere. Okay, let's keep the sphere. So the sphere is this interact trigger. Okay, let's keep the sphere. I think it's fine. So what we want to do, what we want to do, we want to use this interact trigger, right? As big as this. I think it is big enough. Like you're gonna touch it very easy, no? Yeah, I think you're gonna touch it very easy. So let's add now on this one the on component overlap. Now let me remove it from this. The component overlap should be, as we said, on PS character. Okay. So in this one has it already, by the way. So we should have on our component overlap this. Now, what do we want to do when we overlap? Do we want to show like a tip? I think yes. Can we attach to the speech bubble a mount? A kind of a because what I'm thinking, I'm thinking the following. When you go close, you have like a mount, interaction with a kind of a something like this, so that it tells you that if you press E, you can mount the guy, right? You can mount the creature. So something like that. I think will be pretty handy. Now the point is where to put that message. If it should be floating around the creature, which I think is better, so we can have it floating around here. So I was thinking maybe I can use the speech bubble location and just display the thing, or I can have the problem. You know what is the problem? Is that this thing will be covered by the wings. Yes, it will be covered by the wings. And if I put it at the front, you will not see it when it's at the back. No, but I think is screen anyway, like it's screen position, right? If you do screen position, is always at the front. Because we did it in the other project, right? We did it in where did I do the bubbles? I did the bubbles in I think in this one. No, but that one was yeah, I think it's okay. Also, this one I think is fine. We can test it also with this other one. Yeah, I think the beta will do a lot. The beta will. So let me see if I go. Yeah, if there is geometry in front of the message, it will show anyway. So like the screen position is in front of everything, right? The screen position is in front of everything. Okay, that's good. So you will see it anyway. Okay, nice. Yeah, I think we can put another thing which is connected to. We can call it interact something, interact box, interact. So interact trigger. Can I associate to this thing a widget or no? Speech bubble can have a widget associated for some reason, right? Yes, you can have a user interface widget class, but the interact trigger cannot. Okay. What is the difference? One is a point, another is a box. Okay, makes sense. So we can add a new component. It is no problem. And these components are just coordinates, so they are not they are not making any. They are not slowing our performance in any way, you know. So let's call it just message because I don't know exactly which kind of message I want to show, but let's say this will be like interact message or yeah, maybe interact message I think would be okay. Interact message is a bit annoying because you will see it on screen and it's not very role play, so you will be like seeing this thing, but I think it's fine. So let's do it for now, and then we will see if we like it or we don't like it. Okay. So we will have an interact message. So we have to create a new UI, or we can use the same bubble thing. No, the bubble thing I don't like it. No, it should be a different one. It should be a different UI. For now, let's create a super simple UI. Okay, so something that is like very simple. Just text. Okay, so widgets window. This is a window. So like we have the win speech bubble. Yes, we will have another window. User interface widget blueprint, which will be called win interact message. Maybe it's too long. Interact message. Let's go this way. Win interact message. So win interact message, super simple, only one text, nothing else. Placed here in the beginning of the beginning, and we learned this desired stuff, right? And we learned what did we learn? This will be text, txt message, and this has to become a variable. And what else we had to do on this? We had to put it at the bottom. I don't know why this thing is going crazy when I move it, but it's really going crazy when I move it. Anchor alignment. No, this is the alignment of the thing. It's not this. Huh? No, what was the alignment of it? Can I move this pivot in a way that is hold control to update widget position? Okay, because this is moving the whole thing. Anyway, I think it will make no big difference. I think it's okay where it is. Okay, so as a default, I think the text block should be empty. Otherwise, we write something weird on screen like text block. And this interact message should have our new window user interface. No. Why is not showing up now? Because it's not a widget component. Okay, that's why. That's why, boys. If it's not a widget component, it cannot have a widget associated. Pretty easy. Pretty easy. Okay, so we set our win interact message to it. What I want that by default that is not visible, right? And we said that the widget is not visible. Yeah, the widget is not visible. So let's do it exactly like we did the speech bubble, because I think it was a good solution at the end. So I think we say that by default it is collapsed. Okay, so we are not gonna see anything. Then when we are interacting with the character, so here, I think all this stuff, I can absolutely remove it. I don't think it's needed. This interaction, remove interaction, who I'm interacting with, I don't really care. I don't really care. The only question I have is this event launched by both of us or only by me? Good question. Let me remove all of this. It's all old stuff I'm not gonna use, okay? It's all stuff I'm not gonna use. Also, all this stuff, add interaction, remove interaction, print interacted object. Well, print interacted object, maybe I can use it. But update interaction, all of this stuff we can remove. It's all old stuff. Let me remove all of this. Let me remove all these functions. They were just tests that we did a long time ago, and now it's just Okay, I removed everything. So begin overlap, end overlap. So yeah, what we want to do is for sure we can print out the other actor. We can check if the other actor. So the first thing I want to do, I just want to check the overlap. Okay. So I want to do just a very simple append begin overlap and just check the distance if it's fine, if it's not fine. So begin overlap with other actor, whatever is his name, we will print it out. Okay, and then we will have the same for the end, just for now. Oops, and we will say end overlap. Okay, end overlap other actor. Now there is other actor and other component. Here we are actually using on component being overlap. So when this component is overlapping with another actor, the point is that both my character and the beast have this thing defined. Both my character and the beast have this thing defined. This one doesn't exist anymore. Set interact on. Hmm. What is this thing doing? I don't think any of that is needed. Okay, so let me just see what happens because I don't remember if it's a component overlap or if it's actor overlap, but they should already be, you know, maybe we can do a bit more and show the widget. I could show the widget, by the way. We could do a bit more and just show the widget directly. So showing the widget means that I have to go now the question is if I'm overlapping. I don't know. Let me print out this because I need to understand it better. Again, both characters have the trigger box, and I'm just thinking if. By the way, it's a bit late. I have to go. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that it was so late. I didn't realize, my friends, but I need to go. Let me just do this test quick and that's it. Why the play button is doing nothing? I removed the interaction thing and now something is not working. I really need to go because it's too late. It's too late to go. What the fuck? Well, I cannot click on play anymore. What the hell? Okay. There is something broken in the UI, I guess. But why it broke now? I just clicked it 1 second ago, so PS character is compiling, okay. What is going on? Main menu, widget, character selection. So we are in the character selection widget. So we are here. So the play button is doing what? Selected character list entry, okay. ID. If nothing is selected, don't do anything. So, okay, so this is maybe the reason that it doesn't see anything selected. Which is a bit strange because I selected it. What is saying? A keep. I am not player controlled. I am not player controlled. Who is saying that? Someone is saying, oh my god. Yeah, okay, this one I think is fine. Just when he's setting up the character and is yeah, I think this part is fine. This part is fine. Okay, let me just see if he doesn't see something selected because it's pretty weird. So we only changed the character blueprint a bit, and for some reason he decided that the play button is not working anymore. By the way, Zwei told me that he has a similar issue. Zwei told me, I think today, that he had an issue with the play button, that he was not doing anything. Which, by the way, never happened to me, so I was like, no, impossible, but now it's happening to me, so... So I'm trying to understand what is going on here. So I selected my character. I click on play and nothing happens, boys. Wow. I click on play, nothing happens. What the hell is this? What happened? Is the server going crazy or? I mean, I click on play. Let me recompile this thing. Oh, it is okay. Click on play. If it's true, request click on play. So it goes. Well, it may fail. There is not a player controller. I mean, it's impossible. It's me. So, you think it fails here? Wow, if it fails here, it's insane. But I don't think it's possible that it fails there. But anyway, let's put out a message. Cast failed. I don't think this fails, but anyway, then it goes to request click on play, which is inside PlaneShip player control. Let's see if this one compiles. Maybe this one is an issue. Ah, okay, that's why. That's why. Because here there was talk interaction. I think all this stuff is old, right? We are not using this anymore. Talk interaction after clicking the mouse icon on the NPC interact window. Yeah, the reason is only that I. Wait a second. Oh no, it was empty. Okay, it was empty. The reason also that only that I had this interact object in between, which is not something that we are using anymore. So, in fact, now it compiles. Okay, so I can say to Zwei that the reason it's not compiling is because his player controller is not compiling, which is nice. I got in a similar situation where the play button was not working. It was because the player controller BP was not compiling from the editor. So if you still have that issue, means you have an old player misaligned player controller file. Okay, so now it is okay. So it took me a bit, but this is the last test, then I'm gone. Then you will see me disappear like in whoop. Even if now we are catching the US guys, right? We are catching the US time zone, so maybe we get some new viewers. Ah, now the play works. So, what is the point? The point is that I want to see when I overlap. No, it's not printing anything, so it's not overlapping. Or anyway, it's not printing that is overlapping. Okay, I will figure it out. At the moment it's not printing that is overlapping, so I will check it. I have to go, guys. It's super late. So thank you for watching, and I will stream maybe tomorrow or the next day. We will see. See you. Bye bye.